am.
So, older sister, what is your name, ma'am?
I am Mittie Wiley Williams.
Okay. And when were you born, ma'am?
I was born February 10th, 1927.
Okay. And where were you born?
I was born in the Crockett area.
In the Crockett area. This is like Houston County, Texas, in 1927.
Correct.
And who is the lovely lady sitting beside you?
My sister, Ollie Byrd.
When you were born, yeah, what was your name?
My name was Ollie Wiley.
And when were you born? What year?
August the 16th, 1929.
Okay, so 1927 and 1929.
Yes.
Who are y'all's parents?
Oscar Wiley, Oscar Wiley, well, Oscar Wiley Senior,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ella Wiley, Ella Daniel Wiley.
Okay, Oscar Wiley Sr. And I think you was his middle name Houston?
Correct.
Okay, so Oscar Houston Wiley married Etta Daniels?
Wiley, correct.
Wiley, okay.
Yeah.
And they had how many children?
They have 3 children together.
Okay, so who are the 3 children that they had?
Oscar Wiley Jr.
Uh-huh.
and Mittie Wiley and Ollie Mae Wiley.
Okay, and so before they met, Etta had a son, and that son was my grandfather, your older brother. What was his name?
Carl Franklin.
Carl Franklin. Now, I've seen his name written a lot of ways.
Daniel.
So, wait a minute. Is he right? I've seen it as Daniels. I've seen Carl Lester as one name. I have seen Carl Lester as 2 names. What was my granddaddy's name?
Carl Lester Daniel
Okay.
Franklin.
All right. Carl Lester Daniel Franklin. Okay. So, and I am your great niece.
Correct.
I am Robin Lucille Franklin Trailer. Okay. And I'm related to you lovely ladies through my father, Ronald Franklin, who is the son of Carl Lester Daniels Franklin, who is your older brother. And my granddaddy is born, I believe, is it March 19th, 1913, maybe?
Correct.
Yeah, something like that. Around March 19th, 1913 is Daddy Rips. That's who we call. We called him Rip. Matter of fact, why do they call my granddaddy Rip? What kind of nickname is that? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I really don't.
Did you all always call him Rip growing up?
Yes.
Really?
We call it Buddy Real.
Buddy Rip. I mean, there's no rip anywhere in Carl Lester. I was just, maybe he was ripping and running, or I don't know. Okay, fine. So let's go back to 1927 when you're born, Aunt Mittie.
Yes.
Who's in the house when you're born?
Well, as I can remember, I was told my grandmother and the midwife, but I can't remember exactly who the midwife.
Okay. What's your grandmother's name?
Mary Eliza.
Mary Eliza. Okay.
Daniel.
Mary Eliza. And I am told people called her Mary Eliza. Like
Yeah.
it kind of rolled off the name, but it's 2 separate names, Mary Eliza.
Yeah.
And she married a man named Tom Daniel.
Correct.
Okay. Another thing that was cleared up for me this past summer at our reunion is that the name is Daniel with no S at the end. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Why did I always think it was Daniels? Why did we put that S on there? Do y'all know where that came from?
No, I don't. But after I heard it discuss this something, I looked in the telephone book, and some has an S and some do not.
Right.
And I asked the children that grew up
Mm-hmm.
as Daniel 'cause I didn't know how they wrote it.
Right.
And they said without the S.
Okay. Well, all right then. Okay, so Aunt Mittie, when you're born to Grandma Etta, also affectionately known as Mama Etta, she's my great grandmother, but she's your mom.
Yes.
In the house with her is her mother, Mary Eliza Daniel, and a midwife.
Yes.
You already had an older brother, Oscar Wiley. Okay. And you are born near Crockett, in Houston County.
Correct.
Do you think you were born in Tadmore?
No.
No. So why? Where were you born in Crockett? Because that's interesting to me. I always imagine all y'all were born in Tadmore, where the homestead is that I know. But you tell me that story.
Well, Tadmore is a community that we grew up in.
Okay.
And it was across the creek from where there was a school at that time. On one side of the creek, they called it Hickory Creek, and the other they called it, Tadmore Community.
Okay. Okay. And so you were born on the Crockett side of that creek.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so were you born in a hospital or in a home or
In a home.
in a home? And that you were born in your home or like Mary Eliza's home or like whose home? In the midwife's home?
I'm thinking it was in our home.
In your home.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know they did have a doctor too, Dr. Even, but I don't know. He was our family doctor.
So you all had a doctor well, I mean, that shouldn't shock me, but I'm imagining early 1900s, 1927. Yeah. Is your doctor black or white?
White.
He's a white man. Okay. Is the midwife black or white?
Black.
She's black. Okay. All right. So you are born in your home across the creek, like in the Hickory Creek area, not too far from Crockett.
Correct.
That is interesting to me. Are you born in the same place, ain't I?
Yes.
Huh. Have I ever seen this place? Was this over where my dad and Uncle Carl used to go hunting? Over there, where that old cabin is and the old barn.
Yes.
That's where you all were born.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that land. I've seen that. And I remember Daddy Rip used to store a lot of hay in a barn over there. Is that where you were born? Over there across the creek?
We were born across the creek, as I remember. I don't know exactly what about the building now.
Right. That's interesting. I never put that together.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I remember, my first introduction to y'all is in Tadmore, like right there. It was the perfect little idyllic community. In my head, that's what I call heaven.
Yeah.
Because right there, I had Mama Doot and Daddy Rip in this house, and then I had Aunt Demp right here in this house. Then we had Canel K, and Nine and Mitrie in this house. And then we had Mama Etta and you two in this house right here. And then the church was just across the dirt road, and we were all tightly packed right there in that little piece of Tadmore. So when I was growing up, we would go across the creek to get the hay and feed the cows and all of that. And so y'all are telling me when you were born, the family lived across the creek.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. And so who else is in the community with you across the creek when y'all are born?
Well, it was the Lamb family, just the Lamb family, which was married to my Uncle Deborah. She married one of the girls, the Florence family.
Okay.
And that was a large family. We grew up together.
Okay. Okay, so the Lamb family lives very near the Wiley family, and the Daniel family is still around too.
Yes, they was about 2 miles from there.
Oh, okay.
Where we live later.
Okay, okay. So you all are born in a house across the creek. Mary Eliza Daniel is there. She is your grandmother. You're born to Etta. And you're born in your house where Etta and Oscar lived. and you all live about 2 miles away from the Daniels.
Yeah.
What I was told yesterday by my Uncle Charles Franklin, affectionately known as Uncle Sonny, Uncle Sonny said he thinks Daddy Rip and Mama Dud bought an acre or two from Tom Daniel, and they had a house there, and they farmed there off of, I guess it was a big 50-acre piece of land that Tom Daniel owned. And when Daddy Rip and Mama Dud got married, he said they purchased land from Tom and built a house there, and Daddy Rip used to farm his land, but also Tom Daniel's land that was unused. Is that right, or do you need to clear that up for me a little bit?
Well, at first, they didn't buy any land. They just lived on Grandpa's place.
Okay.
And later, we were living on another man's place at one while. And we lived across the field from them. And they lived out there with a big old walnut tree there. And we enjoyed getting the walnuts from there. And it was about several blocks from my grandpa's house.
Uh-huh.
And they lived in the field from him.
Okay. Okay. So the Daniel family is there, the Wiley family is there, the Lamb family is there in close proximity. Okay.
They're a little further away at this time.
Okay. Was your community an integrated community at all, or were we all black folks, kinfolk black folks back there?
Mostly black.
Okay, mostly black.
Mostly black.
Who's not black in the community?
Well, we do have a Kraft family and a Mayweather family, which a lot of us work for them.
Okay. You said Crib?
Kraft.
Kraft.
C-R-A-T-H.
Okay, and Mayweather.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to ask you a question about Mayweather in a little bit, but I'm going to keep going with our family history. So I'm imagining you all in rural Houston County, East Texas, on your land, surrounded by family, cousins perhaps. Oh, on that note, did you all grow up near any first cousins? I mean, Mama Etta's there, but Mama Etta is one of like 11 or 12 children. And I have to imagine that Grandma Etta's siblings were nearby. Maybe you had first cousins in the area. Like, were there any other children in the community with you at the time?
The Lamb family was the closest to us.
Okay. Okay.
But later on, my aunt moved down from another community into our community.
Which aunt?
Stella Johnson.
Aunt Stella. So this is Mama Etta's sister? Okay. Okay, wonderful.
It's George Arthur's.
Yes. So then comes Annie B, and then comes George Arthur from Stella.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. Okay.
So Delbert lived.
Yeah, Deb and his after he married to her.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
See, we lived near a branch, and we all played together as children and fished and swim.
You swam? You all swam? They said black people didn't swim, so tell me, y'all were back there swimming?
We waded. Swim.
That's awesome. Where did y'all go swimming, in the creek?
Just a branch. We swam and fished.
Huh.
We fished pretty well daily.
Okay, well tell
My
me.
mom fished every day.
Wow.
But then you fall in the creek once.
Well, it was a pond, and I was going to get my brother's hook. And I caught this little bush, and it broke, and I sailed out into the tank.
Oh my
And
gosh.
this lady Florence said, the name Florence, now.
Uh-huh.
She said, I just went out there and came on around like I was. And my eyes got big as a teacup. But I had on a dress my mother had made out of these shivers, and it just on top of the water.
Oh
I
Lord.
didn't see it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So describe your childhood to me. Would you say that your childhood was fun or
Well,
not fun? Let's talk about age, like up until say, up until about 10 years old. Describe to me what it's like for y'all back there.
We worked in the field when we got old enough with my dad and them along.
Oh my gosh.
They rented, worked on a place with sharecropper,
Uh-huh.
and we worked in the field.
You know, I've heard of sharecropping my whole life,
Mhm.
and I never imagined that my family was that we were sharecroppers.
We did some of it.
Okay.
And we picked cotton and we picked peas and
Okay, so you said when you're old enough. How old are y'all when you get out there to the field?
Well, I noticed that one time, I was about 6, and they still, them was hoeing cotton or something, and I went with her.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't keep up with her, so she would hold every once in a while on my side
Oh,
and
wow.
keep up with.
Wow.
Mm.
And so, will y'all explain to me in your own words, what is this sharecropping deal? What is sharecropping? Why do people do that?
make a living.
To make a living?
Yeah, make a yes.
So the
I
land,
really wondered why I worked with this man, and then we would pick cotton and hoe and so forth.
right. So the way sharecropping is explained to me is after emancipation, there's a lot of land to be farmed, but no enslaved people to make farm that land. So it said to me that the people who owned the land made a deal with the formerly enslaved that if you work this land and you continue to grow crops, that I'll let you live here and that you can share in some of these crops with me. Is that pretty much the deal?
Yes, we got a portion.
Okay, so who's the guy that we're working with or working for?
Gus Mayweather.
Mayweather. What was that guy like, Gus Mayweather?
What happened when we was picking cotton, about 12, a bell was saying at noon that you can go and eat.
Okay.
We eat our lunch. And people would just go to different, trying to find a shade tree or something to sit on and eat their lunch.
Okay.
And he would ride on a horse, checking on them.
Interesting. Checking on you to make sure
Well, I
you're
know that's what he
okay
did.
or to
He
make
did-
sure you're working. Like
He would
check.
be on a big horse just going around.
He wouldn't
Okay.
be making folk work. He just, seeing what's going on.
Just checking on folks. Yeah, seeing what's up out
Yeah,
there.
his crop.
Gus
And-
Mayweather.
And you got a portion of it.
Okay.
Well, one place we went to, we had water, a big old keg of water, and a dipper. And everybody was drinking and was saying, may you remember that? Charlie Jackson. Mama, the man dipped snuff. And Mama said, oh, I just had to wipe my.
Ooh, Lord.
She said, I had just wiped that off because I was drinking behind Charlie Jackson.
Oh no. Yeah. Ugh, that sounds terrible. Okay. So you all are there. I'm imagine is Mary Liza out there in the field with Aunt Stella?
No.
or-
I've never known her to work.
Never
Okay.
heard a word.
All right. Was Tom out there in the field?
No, I remember.
Okay.
Grandpa working for anybody.
Okay. What about Daddy Rip? Is he out there with y'all in the field?
No.
What about Oscar?
They worked at Oscar would be there, but Brittany worked with the sawmill.
Okay. Okay. So it's funny, I asked you, like, when you were a kid before 10, do you remember it being fun? And the first thing you say was, well, we went to work. You know? I don't think 6-year-olds work these days, you
Yeah,
know,
we
but
pick
you all
cotton.
were out there working with Stella in the field,
Yeah.
picking cotton and
Yeah, we
peas.
picked cotton.
You're babies, actual babies
We
out
would
there.
have fun afterwards.
Yeah, after the work was some fun, you
Yes.
know.
See, the black school wouldn't start till a little later.
See, that's
Then the
what I was
white-
gonna. Okay, now school. So y'all are working before school.
Yes.
Yeah, we worked when we picked cotton. The white would start about the 1st of September, like, we would start about after the 3rd Sunday. Well, in August, we would start after the 3rd Sunday in August. But
Oh
the
my
white would be going.
Okay, so I am just, I guess I'm in awe. So you all are babies, and you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get up and you go to the fields and you work with Aunt Stella or whoever, out there. And it's noon, they ring the bell and you can rest.
Now you go and eat.
Or go and eat. Yeah, don't call it rest. You go eat. Right? You're like, don't get it messed up. You
Like
go
when
rest.
You're hoeing. Like
Wow.
when you're hoeing, not picking.
Yeah, and so you all go to rest, and then and well, not rest, you go to eat. So explain to me when school start. Okay, describe a typical day. You wake up at what time, go to the field at what time, you eat around noon, and then you go to school. Describe a typical day.
Well, we never worked when we was going to school. No, they never did keep us out of school.
Oh, that's lovely. That actually is wonderful to hear. Although I heard my granddaddy had to quit school around third or fourth grade to go to
Yes.
work. Was that pretty common at the time?
Well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the
Well, I
families
think
had to
he
eat.
was most with my grandfather.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. But so you all are working when you're not in school.
Yes.
And so what does a typical school year look like for y'all?
Well, especially after I started teaching, a lot of folks would be working in the field. But when I get off from work and go home, my mother would be in the field. I wouldn't want to stay at home by myself. I just keep on around the field. Mother would say, you all let us pick this cotton call. You've been working. You gonna make you some money. We need to make this. And I could pick as much as 200 and 300 pounds of cotton. I have got 200.
Oh my gosh.
I picked over 200 pounds of cotton when I would pick all day. That's before, when I was grown, after we got grown.
Wow.
And we picked peas like this. We love to pick peas because they weigh heavy.
Wow. And so you all were paid according to the weight of your bag?
Oh, yes.
Huh.
They had a book for them.
Keep our weight.
And then on the end of the week, they'll call us all that and we would pay us according to what we've done.
Who was recording the weight? Who measured the weight and recorded the weight in the book?
Like we said, Gus Miller, but he had a man that helped him,
Was he white?
black.
He was black. Was there ever any question of whether or not they were paying y'all according to your weight? Did you ever think that they underscored the weight so that they could underpay you? Was anybody ever worried about that?
I
Don't remember anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so when you're not in school and you go work in the fields, what's a day like? What time do you get up to go out to the field with Aunt Stella?
Well, I only did that one time, but I don't forget what time. We get up early.
Early.
Uh-huh.
That's what my mother described. My mother says that they would get up early
Mhm.
and they would work until the sun went up and then the sun went down, and then her dad would try to hang a new sun so they could work even longer.
Yeah,
My mom said they were out in the fields all the time,
Yeah.
but she was in Van Zandt County when you all were in Houston County. Okay, so
sometimes people come in from other communities to get you to work for them. And a lot of folks be on a truck together
right,
and they go travel like that.
okay,
Well,
so
sometimes we have to ride on the truck sometime too. And I know I really hated somebody to get close to me.
yes,
We all standing up like a bunch of cattle
yeah.
in the truck. And I just, I didn't want nobody to touch
To
me.
touch you,
Cause
yes.
you was all sweating.
Yes, yes. Ugh, okay, well, I can imagine that. Well, so occasionally you might go out to the fields, but you all went to school. School was important. How old are y'all when you start school, more or less? About 6 years old. Did you get any schooling at home before you went to school? Like, did Uncle Oscar and Daddy Rip try to teach y'all to read before you went to school? Did anybody work with you at home? Was there any preschool before?
No.
Nothing like that.
I don't know really.
But my older sister, they always say, They read it and studied all the time. Even when they went to the mailbox, they had a book.
Well, okay, so talk to me about your older sisters because I think I heard that before Oscar and Etta were married, that Oscar had a life before Etta.
These
And-
four girls.
Yes, so please tell me about your older sisters. I'd love to know about them.
One name was Helen. She worked down here. But I forget the name of the school, but she taught for
She
40
went to different schools.
Yeah,
So
but she
Helen Wiley.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she finally married, what was his name?
I can't think of it.
But she worked 42 years on this teacher.
Okay.
What was her name? I forgot what school.
Helen, I don't know if went to school,
Mhm.
but she lived in the community in Garden City where I lived
Okay.
for quite a while before she died.
Okay.
But before that, she worked for me. I forget the name of the teacher. But she taught there for 42 years. Now, Grace lived in Chicago most of the time.
Wait a minute. Grace. So you have a sister named Helen who taught for 43 years in Houston in the Garden Oaks community. Then you have a sister named Grace who's in Chicago.
Yeah, she lived in Chicago.
How did she get to Chicago? Was she born in Texas?
Yes.
Yeah, but she's up there grown up. She lived in Chicago and had a son up there, and he was a bank examiner. And he said he didn't let Negroes have money because all they want to do is buy cars.
He died not too long ago. He stayed in touch with Mary.
Mary went up there to see him, Mary and Curtis.
I'm blown away. Because in my imagination, my family only ever existed in Houston County. Like that's where we were. We were just there and we were nowhere else. But in speaking with you all on the way over here, I think you told me that even Tom Daniel was not from Houston County.
No.
He came to Houston
Yeah,
County
yeah.
from somewhere.
Yeah.
Where do we, you know,
Down the state somewhere, I can't think of it.
okay.
Somebody
Was
knows.
that one?
Yeah, he does. He knows. I have the genealogy and the tree
And
book and all
what-
of that.
Us three sisters live here. When I was in Prairie View, I came over to visit one of them several times.
So you
And
all
she
grew up.
said, do you want some land? Want me to give you some land or some money? And I said, I want the land down here. But you know, she passed away that year and I never
Wow.
did get to get the land.
Wow.
That was Irene. Then
Irene
Justine lived here, but
and Justine.
she had a studio.
So Helen and then what was that second name that went to
Grace.
Chicago? Grace.
Uh-huh.
And then
Irene
Irene
and Justine.
and Justine Wiley.
Mhm.
And they are Houstonians.
Mm-hmm.
So does Oscar Wiley come from Houston and then come to Houston County? How did he wind up in the country?
No, he's born in Fort Downs, Love Lady.
He was born in Lovelady.
Yeah, that's his home in the Fort Lady area. And the girls, when they grew up, they have a lot of land up there now. Well, in that Houston County, a lot of people call it Green Patton Place. And they, from Green Patton, he had a son was a doctor in Palestine, a black doctor, Dr. Patton. You could hear a lot of talk about him.
Wow.
But he was kin to them. That Green Patton was that Muslim uncle.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're
But
going to
as
have
they
to talk a
grew up,
lot
they,
more about
they
him.
came down different places. Helen left and went to, you know, like New Orleans. That's where she stayed for.
Fascinating.
But
Oscar sounds incredible.
But
they was all buried in paradise in Garden City, New York.
Oh, yeah, right here, Paradise. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
right in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. Our family is buried in our community cemetery in Tadmo.
yeah,
Like when it's my time to go in the ground, I want to go up there.
yeah.
That's where my grandparents are. My parents will be there.
Yes, yes.
So I got to talk to Omari and see if they're till death do us part. I don't know if Omari's going up there, but that's where I want to go. Okay, so that is interesting. So But for whatever reason, he finds himself in Houston County and marries Etta, and they have a
Yeah,
family.
he grew up in Houston County. See, he's from Porthouse in that area.
Right,
That's
right,
his home.
right. Okay. So
It's
so
good.
you all are in school. So we're back to the school and your children in school. And I think you told me all of school was in one place from first grade to 12th grade
Yes.
in one place. Do you remember the name of your teacher?
Car and folk.
Huh?
When car and folk.
Yeah. Well, when we went to the first and sixth grade, I mean, there we was in the Carter folks. That was in the Chatham community. Though.
Okay.
Right.
And
across.
then later we went to Germany, what they call Glover, and we had several teachers up there: B.M. Strong and Henry May Myron, I.T. Williams. We said, "This is your day. How you going to use it?" I remember him so well saying that. And he used to go home with us a lot and sometimes stay because Junior was good in agriculture and he built things, last step. And sometimes he spent the night with us.
Wow.
Junior even had a hog and they named him, and they got to squeal that Brooksy Brothers stuff.
Okay.
Henry May and Sally Kay and all of them were teachers in the Germany community where we went. That was over the creek, so after we, and then they consolidated the schools and they took the schools in all the surrounding communities. They had one they called Glover, and they took Germany, Tadma on the other side of the creek, and all went to this school in Augusta, and all there, and on the other side of the creek went to Kenard, to Tadma.
Okay. Okay. So what's the name of the school that you all went to?
Glover when we finished high school.
Okay.
The first time we were Tadma, then we went to Glover.
Okay. And so,
But when we consolidated the schools, we all went back to Kenard.
Kennard. Okay. Okay. Were all of your teachers Black?
Yes.
Yes, when we was in high school.
Well, and the teachers who taught you, were they from Houston County or they made their way to Houston County?
They're from Houston County.
I wouldn't imagine anybody would land in Houston County unless they were from Houston County.
Yeah, they were all there.
Okay. Let's talk about the political climate when you all are growing up. You all grew up in the Jim Crow South. You grew up in a time when Black people can't vote. We can't go in stores. We can't drink from the fountain. We can barely be seen in public, right? So what has been described to me by my cousins is that, and it's shocking to me because I never witnessed it, but I know it was very common for my own proud granddaddy Rip to get off the sidewalk and put his head down as white folks were coming by. And so I'm imagining that you are very surrounded by love and empowered and free, in the Tadma community or, Hickory Creek, wherever
Yes.
you were growing up. But then describe to me what it's like when you discover that you're Black in the Jim Crow South. Describe to me what it's like for you when you encounter the political climate of the United States at the time that you're growing up.
Well, when you can't go to the restroom and cannot drink out of the fountain. I remember going to the courthouse many times where they had two fountains. One said white and the other said black. The restroom said white or black.
Okay. How often did you all have to go in town?
Not too often.
Not too
Couldn't have no transportation.
Right. Well, yeah. What
But
was
I-
your transportation?
Well, okay,
Cousin Bitch had a car when he came back, so he lived away one while. But he moved back to the community and he had an old car. He would take folks places.
And if you didn't have a car, how would you get
And
around?
then
Yeah,
Uncle
wagon.
Andy had a truck. He would take folks
and
around.
go to the white.
But it was a white man that where we live close to and everything. And you would rent from him. They would take you to town sometimes.
Like a car?
Mhm.
Okay. And my father describes being in a horse and buggy at times when he was a boy. And my mother is just incredulous at this. She says there is no way you were rolling around Houston County in a horse and buggy in the early 1950s. But were you all in horse and wagon?
Well, one time, Rip carried me to Crockett. And I've been trying to find out. I thought my grandmother was just selling ice cream, but nobody can remember. Everybody that I know, they're deceased. But we went to Crockett in the wagon. I went with him.
How
And I
long
was
did that
thinking-
take?
I don't know. I think it took a whole day,
Oh my God.
but I couldn't
And
remember.
then we go up in the hospital.
It's too far. So did you enjoy that trip to Crockett?
Yeah, I was just looking.
I think, it's like a big trip. It
Yeah.
takes me all day, 8 or 9 hours to get from like Houston to Wichita, Kansas, right? But it would take you all day from Tadmo
I know.
to get to Crockett. Yeah, and a
We
horse.
sure
and
did.
Wow. Okay. So at the time that you're growing up, society is segregated. There's whites over here, there's blacks over here. Did you beautiful ladies ever encounter any direct, hostility from anyone at the time that you were growing up?
No, I don't
No,
know.
not really.
But anyway, they had, when school started, the white the black had on one day they go to the fair, Dallas Fair.
Really?
Anyway, you can tell about that. Y'all would go,
Ah,
when y'all was in kindergarten, y'all had a certain day to go to the fair.
yeah, I went to fair.
My
That's
daddy
right.
always called it Negro Appreciation Day at the rodeo. Because, Houston Rodeo, there was always one black day where they would have black artists and celebrate black culture. So my daddy called it Negro Appreciation Day. But that was kind of a real thing back then. At the
Yes.
fair, there was one day for black folks.
Well, we was talking about that in Sunday school the other Sunday.
That is interesting. Okay, so my girls are learning right now, American history and what they're taught in school. Actually, my girls are really blessed. They have good teachers who are teaching the truth. But I think that, right now in the United States, there actually is a movement to whitewash history.
Yeah.
And it's important to me that that we can't lose history, which is why it's urgent to me to talk to you all about who we are and where we're from. Now, my understanding is that our family had a lot of land. Where did that land come from, and how much do you think we had at any given time?
Well, Curtis said that they called Tom up the Negro.
Yeah. Well, I heard it wasn't Negro. I heard it was nigger.
Well, nigga.
They wrote
I don't know
uppity
why I said
nigger
nigger.
on an official government document. They didn't like Tom. And I heard Tom was kind of a tough guy. Is that right? I mean, y'all called your granddaddy Tom. He probably wasn't a kind of a fuzzy, warm guy, right?
Real quiet. You didn't even, he had a walking stick. He would walk with that walking stick.
Huh. A quiet man.
Quiet.
And y'all called him Tom.
Yeah.
And white folks called him an uppity nigger in an official government document. But he had land.
Yeah, and he did.
Remember, Mittie?
Okay, well, let's
We all divided the land. I went to town and Rick went to town and Uncle Sheriff. I went to town and we tried to get folks to sign and this and that. We had time for it, but it was fine.
Huh. So there was a little drama after
Okay.
Tom died.
He was in him when folks didn't want to sign something.
Well, I was gonna say it's unusual, unfortunately in our culture, a lot of times somebody dies and the land just goes to whomever. And sometimes the departure of that important individual with all that material wealth can cause strife and division in families, because people want to fight about the land or the property or, whatever. And I know some of our land at least has been lost whether sold or just lost, for tax or whatever.
Yeah.
But I am told that our family was almost 100% self-sufficient. We grew our own food. We hunted our own meat. We raised our own livestock. We fished. Did y'all ever have to go to a grocery store growing up?
Yeah.
But we grew all our veggies.
You grew all your vegetables.
Sweet potatoes and all kind of veggies.
And then
And we
after,
would do canning, mama canning and everything.
Okay.
Mhm.
I never saw a homeless person in Tadmo
We
growing
never
up.
got hungry.
and then after we started teaching, they had where we could get accounts and you could get at the grocery stores in different places. And we would make a help ticket there once a month and pay your bill.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. So Tom is described as a proud man.
Yeah, a lot of time now, Grandpa would be home, and Uncle Delbert and a bunch of folks would be out, white and black, mixed up, and they get into a problem. They have a problem, and all of them go to Grandpa's house, and white folks would come there, but he dared them to come in the house, but they never did come in the house, but they'd go there to Grandpa's a lot of them.
So
Then
Delbert,
the lamb man went there, and Grandpa was over trying to get him out there. Go out there, Jesse. Go out there, Jesse. And he wouldn't go. He never did get Mr. Jesse out. That ain't Francis dead. Yeah.
so Tom, this is interesting. So Uncle Delbert might go out and there might be some problem with white folks.
Oh, yeah. Before about them black folks would be out there, and the whites they get into a problem.
A little bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they might even come looking for
yeah,
Uncle
they come
Delbert.
to Grandpa's house. So,
But they didn't come in Grandpa's
no,
house.
they didn't come in the house.
They knew better than
Now,
to
they
come in.
wanted to come in, but he tell them I'm in the house already.
Okay. No, well, I would call that very brave in that particular political climate. Let me get away from our family a little bit. Before you all are born, there's this pretty terrible chapter in American history called the Slocum Massacre that people are just waking up to.
Yeah.
And officially, they're saying maybe 18 to 20 people died at the Slocum Massacre. But it is estimated that far more, maybe 100, 200 people were massacred in Slocum. What do y'all know about the Slocum Massacre? Do you know anything?
She knows.
Well,
Tell me everything
in
you know.
the community where we went to school, but you ride the bus to the end of a line, and then on the end of the line, it goes to the Slocum community.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you know anything about any trouble in Slocum?
No, I don't know anything about any trouble because I guess all of them about they was killed out during that time. Mrs. Land was there, and they said that's what happened.
Say what happened? Say that again.
That's where they massacred those people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am told that my own grandfather witnessed something pretty terrible. I am told that his uncle was returned home dead. I am told that Daddy Rip had an uncle who was a war veteran. He came back from war, and maybe he went in town to pay taxes or something like that. I don't know. But I am told, Daddy Rip told this to my father. He said it was a cold and rainy day when they brought back his uncle, and they essentially dropped his dead body off at the homestead. And this man, was a war veteran. He had land, but he was a victim of a terrible hate crime. I think by a white mob. Do y'all know anything about that at all?
I don't.
So, well, for me, that's really, because it's obviously a very traumatic thing. There was no legal recourse for anything like that at the time. Like, if something bad happened to Black people, it's not like there was an investigation. the state didn't check it out. There was not, that's interesting. You all didn't know about that. Interesting. Um, Let me try something else with you. I am told that Mr. Is it Mayweather or
Yeah.
Merriweather?
Mayweather.
Mr. Mayweather
Mhm.
asked my granddaddy, Carl Lester Franklin, Daddy Rip. I'm told that he asked him at one point, "Hey, do you have any deeds to any land?" And Daddy Rip says, "Yes, yes, I do." He says, "Let me take a look at those deeds." And Daddy Rip brings him the deeds. And I'm told that a lot of time goes by and Daddy Rip didn't get his deeds back. And I am told that Daddy Rip went back to him maybe a year later or whatever and says, "Hey, Mr. Mayweather, where are my deeds?" And Mr. Mayweather says, "What deeds?"
Mhm.
Had you heard anything about that at all?
No, it seems like I heard something, but I don't know for sure. But I know him and Mom and them all kind of grew up together. They worked, Mom and them, BJ Farm.
Okay, okay.
Back,
Back, yeah. What were you going to say, ma'am?
I said about, seemed like I remember said he didn't get his deed back or something. But see, my dad and them waited for him a long time, the crops. But you know how white folks do, they take things. But you ain't used to borrow money from him a lot. He come to my house several times since Mama passed and thing, and see how things were going. Him and his daughter. And his daughter and I was maybe they got the picture made together. They got a two of them on foot.
Mayweather's daughter?
They are the daughter and I made. They got the same age.
You know, sitting up there with the one shoe on.
Her name was Mary Byrd.
Okay.
Well, see, Mama now, after these late years, she go up there and work for us then. We saw that a lot. Help her. And when Mary Byrd got married, they came, got her to help serve and all that kind of stuff. But Mama would go up there and work quite a bit for him. And when Junior get ready for some money, he tell Mama, tell Mr. Gus, send me such and such a thing. He finally sent it to him. But he finally said, tell Junior to go to the bank. He can get it just as cheap. And, but he could about helping out and everything like that in these later years.
So today, my girls have the benefit of learning Black history. We celebrate Black History Month, very, very pro-Black in our home. We're not anti anything, but we certainly are very pro-Black.
When you talking about Black history,
Yeah,
I was serving and Rochelle's son was in their practice. And they showed the picture.
Ruth.
They showed picture.
Ruth. Ruth.
No. I was serving in the South Fair district.
Yeah, I know I was talking about the picture they showed.
But anyway, they showed picture people picking cotton. And that boy got mad. He was just ready to fight. But all those people, they really looked bad. And so the teacher told me to carry.
Yeah. At least from my generation and maybe the generation before, we had to make our peace with how things were. I think for you, because you saw the arc of, goodness in your lifetime from Jim Crow South to civil rights movement to improvement to where we are, many of us were born with so many more freedoms than you were. And many of us wanted to think that things were so much better, in our time than they were in your time. But there comes a point when you realize things really hadn't changed that much. See, I always knew I was Black, in like in elementary school, for instance, I was the only I was the only black girl in my entire elementary class, and there was another black boy. So I always knew I was black. I went to black churches, but at the school, I was like one of two chocolate chips in the whole class. Um, but I grew up with no real understanding of racism at all. I mean, I grew up with white kids as my best friends. I mean, we did slumber parties together and we ran around together, and their parents were good to me and sweet to me until a time. Then I get to middle school and a kid calls me a nigger. And then I go to high school and a kid is spitting on me. And I'm realizing some of these things are not settled. Some of this like racial animosity and racial tension. And then now that I'm grown, I've lived through Trayvon Martin and George Floyd and Crawford and so many more, Tamir Rice and Walter Scott, all of these unfortunate incidents. And so now, I think we're having a great awakening in the Black community where we're just now really being more honest and open and truthful about, like these injustices. I think camera phones made that an imperative. Before, Black folks would just get mowed down by the police or by, white people, and there's no evidence of it and nobody cares. But when you see it on camera, you have to, you can't see that and ignore it. And so it has forced me to ask the question like, well, what did my family have to deal with? And I have grown up with freedom of speech. I can say anything, do anything, or so I think. But you all grew up in a time where people don't really talk about their pain too much. The fact that you, like, Daddy Rip didn't tell you about his uncle, that thing happened. And I understand now, Daddy Rip spent a lot of time afraid.
Yes, he was afraid for him.
Yeah.
I remember they was and land down there in the bottom. I prayed them in the day. I left school after many times. My friends would be right behind me. And we'd go home and they called and said, I'm back here for something. I'd have to go see what's going on. And sometimes call and I'd meet up and they had gotten ripped and we'd go back home and one of them things.
Like what got ripped for what? If they'd gotten ripped for what? Like what was he dealing with? Daddy Rip?
They wanted to land and everything down in the bottom, and we would go down there and be in the bottom. And sometimes he'd have to hide. The lawyer told him one time, said, well, they don't know you down there. You got to be there to claim for this, that, and the. So he went down there in the bottom, and the folks were looking for him, and Rip got up and hollered, and he fell down the hill. They never did find him. But he was something. He been to from the bottom coming on that name.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's been a mess about that name. Go to the lawyers and back down there.
Was he afraid people were trying to take the land from him, or what was
Yeah, they wanted the land. They tried to take it. And they would have killed him a lot of times. They could have caught up with him.
Huh.
And they tell me something, and I go tell her later I had to go home, and I leave, and friends would come right behind me, because she was trying to stand by a rib too. And trying to see what's going on.
So Daddy Rip was trying to hold on to the family land.
Yeah.
And it must have been hard. I mean, again, this is a man with about a 3rd grade education, but he made sure you went to college. He made sure all his kids had an opportunity to go to college. Matter of fact, the same land that put you through school is the same land that put me through school.
Yes, then you go to the creek and go up there in there, and then we will go back in there. And all the old white folks were down in there. They sure didn't want that land and stuff. And them just didn't want to give it up.
Well, and he wouldn't let him have it. I actually appreciate his
Yeah.
fight. You know, he
Yeah,
wouldn't
he
let him
did.
take it. You know, because that was all we had. I mean, again, that land
Yeah.
got our family through a lot. It got us through several. You know, our 4th-generation Prairie View student is on campus right now.
Really?
Yeah, Jana is studying agriculture
Oh,
at
yes,
PV
I'm
right
so
now.
proud of Jane.
Yeah, we all are.
Cause they had a time getting it, but I mean, her mama stayed on.
Yeah, Belinda, she's a great mom. Yeah. Yeah, our baby Jana is there at Prairie View
Yeah.
representing the family extremely well in the agriculture department. I tell everybody down there, Jana Franklin is mine. That's my baby. You take care of her. You make sure she stays on the track, you know.
What Jana said, she can do better with animals than she can people.
That's what she told me too. I told her take all the hard classes. You know, sometimes when you show up in school, you think maybe I can't do a lot. You know, maybe I can't be a lot. But I always prayed, especially for our children, that they show up to university and discover the possibilities. You know, I mean, look at how far you went, and look at how far God has brought me. You know, you can go as far as you want to go. Yeah, Reverend Wiley, my Uncle Oscar, your brother used to say, all it takes is a made up mind. You can do anything. All it takes is a made up mind. What's some other stuff you want to tell me that I don't know? How about this? Let's talk about some fun stuff. Tell me more about this Bonnie and Clyde business, okay? Because that makes up, we famous now. Like, please tell me about Bonnie and Clyde. Go ahead, Mittie May. What do you know about Bonnie and Clyde?
Oh, they were off in the woods there, a couple of miles from house back in there from grandfather's in the land. But they came up to my grandmother several times. They said she gave them some food.
Several times.
Yeah, she gave them food.
So they came to hide out with our family
Well,
several
they back
times.
in the woods there.
Yeah.
But when they got ready to eat or something, you know, they had to come out the woods and land.
So they hid out in
Yeah.
Houston County with our family.
Yeah.
And I heard they gave our family money from time to time.
They might have, I ain't heard that. Oh, that's what they were. But they wanted some people to come up to that.
Huh. Interesting.